Continuing to the right, next, Zippy's occasional son, Fuel Rod. Next to him, Zerbina, Zippy's full-figured occasional wife. Next, Meltdown, his nuclear daughter. In the back of the desk, scheming as usual, is Shelf Life, always looking for the next big thing so we can unload it on someone else. Watching television, these are characters that rarely appear, but they do appear occasionally. Watching television on the floor there are the Toadettes, a group of brainless, kind of go along with anything sidekicks to Mr. Toad. And Zippy himself, and then Griffey looking up from the Sunday Funnies skeptically. People often ask me, especially aspiring cartoonists, how I got into daily strip syndication. I think most people assume it's and it occasionally usually is actually, a long, arduous process involving knocking on lots of doors, interviews, and years of trial and error, but that's not how it happened to me. Here is the story in a nutshell. Pretty much as it really happened. Just a precursor to reading this page, I've changed Zippy to Pip and Flip. That's my little fictional stand-in for the Zippy strip in this particular strip. Anyway, step one. Well, the title first, important. So you want to be a nationally syndicated cartoonist? Here's how. Step one. Work in the underground or alternative comics market for at least a decade and stay close by the phone. So there I am in the early 70s. Wow, a royalty check from Kitchen Sink for $16.29. Kitchen Sink was one of the underground comics publishers. Step two. During all those lean years, make sure you accept no editorial guidelines whatsoever. And there I am at the phone at my drawing table. I can do whatever I want. What artistic freedom? Playboy? Sorry, I can't accept any editorial guidelines. That actually happened, by the way. Wait for the scion of a major media empire to call and offer to publish a strip in the local daily paper. As Craig pointed out, that was Wilhurst III. There's me on the phone. Yes, this is the creator of Pip and Flip. Okay, as long as you agree, I accept no editorial guidelines whatsoever. Step four. Put in a solid 12 months on an exclusive basis at the local rag, all the while outraging the scion's uncle. There I am at my drawing table reading myself my own strip in the Examiner. Doing Pip and Flip every day is hard work, but I'm finally reaching hipper urban sophisticates. Step five. Wait for a huge comic syndicate from New York to offer you a national distribution deal. I'm on the phone now looking a little more prosperous and wearing shades. I say, okay, but I retain movie and TV rights. And Pip and Flip are at the bottom there saying, wow, we'll be in Kansas. Step six. This is absolutely true, this event here. In your pep talk to the syndicate sales force, explain how they should push your comic as the weirdest daily strip in America. I'm holding a picture of Pip up and saying to all these confused salesmen, it's a Zen thing. One of them pipes up, funny. Now really tell us how to sell it. Step seven, as the years go by, encourage any and all Hollywood feelers, as long as they pick up expenses. I'm on the train going to Hollywood and the stewardess says, today's movie is Heaven's Gate. I'll take a headset and a big vodka tonic. Step eight, through a clever combination of affability and demands for artistic control, make sure no showbiz deal ever materializes. I'm at a Hollywood party. We were so close, but Harrison Ford backed out at the last minute. Somebody says, tell us again how your agent called Pip and Flip the next Shrek. I did not make up any of these, but it's all in there. And at last, in the last panel at the bottom right, laugh all the way to the bank as you turn every fiasco and misstep in your career into material for your nationally syndicated comic strips. I'm looking at the audience and saying, hey, did I mention that I still accept no editorial guidelines whatsoever? So now you know how to get into comics. In my books, my annual compilations of Zippy strips, I put the daily strips in chapters divided into a couple of categories. And this is a Zippy and Griffey category, the kind of essential category of my work, the kind of essential relationship. I think it kind of boils down think Zippy and Griffey need each other, as I said before, for this trip to work. Zippy by himself would be a little too much craziness. Griffey balances Zippy's innocence, his randomness, and his penchant for wordplay. And Zippy keeps Griffey's neurotic crankiness, I think, a little bit in check. Between them, I hope I get in a little social critique or two, and a laugh, if that's what I'm after, which is not always true. Warning, I should put this on all my books. In a Zippy strip, the punchline can come in any panel or not at all. This one is not a great slide, but I'm going to read it. Tubby Weather, it's called, from, I believe, 1995. So there's Griffey on the left in the first panel. What's it doing outside, Zip? Anything coming down yet? And Zippy, looking out the window, says, tiny toy tubas. Second panel, Zippy continues, tiny toy tubas are coming down. Thousands and thousands of tiny toy tubas coming down. Griffey says, what is the sound of thousands of tiny toy tubas coming down? Zippy says, pa tinkle, pa tinkle, pa tinkle. Wordplay. Okay. A few months ago, if you've been reading my strip lately, you may have noticed a little new look that took over. I began a long series of strips that I'm actually still doing occasionally, not every day, kind of reintroducing the characters. I do this every few years, I think, as a service, maybe to my audience, to re-explain myself. And this one is all about Zippy's childhood. The main events of which, I have to admit, change as often as Zippy changes the channels on his remote control. I'll read this one. It's called Growing Old Gracefully. Back in the golden era, little Zippy really chugged the extra hot taco sauce by the gallon. Little Zippy says, taco sauce helps me undermine reality in at least 12 ways. Panel 2, he drank so much of the stuff that it altered the molecular structure of his DNA. Little Zippy says, I now have the superpower to decode the satanic lyrics of all the Partridge Family's greatest hits. Gee. Later, as he matured, Zippy turned his attention to girls and cars. Zippy was working on a sports car there, and the teenage girl says, is that a camshaft? And teenage Zippy says, yes, and I souped it up with a Forest Blade air conditioner. Wow. In the last panel, today Zippy says he doesn't mind shrinking in height or gaining weight, as long as he can do it in a patented three-way Barker wrench. Mentally, I still have a 6-episode animation deal with Showtime. This series has an odd quality, actually, even to me. I think the characters almost seem as if they're being portrayed by actors in this series, which it's an artificiality that is very interesting for me to play with. It lets me kind of reinvent them and kind of figure them out all over again for myself. So this is Griffey, my alter ego. The strip is titled Griffey Incorporated. Griffey spends his life viewing and recording people and places for the purpose of later satirizing and lampooning their fads and foibles. Griffey's looking out the window with binoculars and holding a palette. And he says, pajama pants and rear cleavage tattoo alert. The next panel, 6 days a week. On Sundays, he sleeps till noon, orders in Thai, and enjoys vintage films on his giant plasma screen home theater. Griffey transfers his ideas to canvas, fetching high prices from an elite clientele. So he's at work, and Griffey's at work on his painting, and he says, I really am due a show at the Met. And in the last panel, he rests comfortably each night, secure in the knowledge that whatever he creates will meet with the approval and accolades of an adoring and well-heeled group. Next to his bed is stock portfolio and profit reports. Dream on, Griffey. Can I click? Yes. Claude Funston is kind of my loyal U.S. citizen. He says and believes everything I don't. He's kind of a lovesick urban hillbilly who can't quite understand why things never seem to go his way, in spite of his devotion to fundamentalism and George Bush. Here's Claude's profile from this series. Rage Against the Machine.